Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 245 and Doubleshot number 178. Okay? First up, Robin Archives, Volume 1. Let me show you the cover because it's... Shoot, that's not what I wanted to do there. The only thing bad about this cover is that you can't exactly see the picture that much. It's just Robin. The picture is just Robin swinging on the cover. So the bad thing about these archive books when it comes to this, I can't exactly take this thing off because it comes from out of the county. But these are some of the issues in here. I'm sorry about the glare. It's just a hardcover book. Now the Robin Archives is basically, this is one of two volumes for this one. It collects the Robin solo feature from his solo appearances in the golden age of comics. These appearances from him from 1940 to 1948 from the comic known as Star Spangled Comics, which is the same comic that if you look up the character Star Spangled Kid, he made his first appearance in the first issue of the series. This book collects issues, his stories from Star Spangled Comics number 65 to 85, about 21 stories from here. Next book goes all the way to about 130. I'm not kidding, it does. The stories in here are pretty decent. I mean, all the writing in here, it's basically all written by mostly the same person. I think so. Let's see, who does the writing here? It says, well, the writer for some of these issues is completely unknown. Well, yeah, a lot of these issues are unknown writers. They never found credit for them. Bill Finger wrote issue 70. And he also wrote issue 85. But that's it. Oh, and some of the artwork is done by... The artwork is mostly done by Win Mortimer, Curtis Swan, guy just passed away last year, and Bob Kane himself. Now, here's a sample of some of the artwork you would find in here. Yeah, it's different from how basically how artists tend to pick characters today, but this is still pretty interesting for what it is. It's an expensive book. It's basically its cover price is $50, but the only reason, and here's the thing, DC's kind of right now trying to fizzle these things down a bit. They're not releasing much as they used to because these things are expensive, really expensive, and the sales for these are not very high. So they're probably not gonna make any more of these. They're gonna stick to like regular trades. So some stories are not expensive as this, but there are trades that collect the issues like this in here. But this is still good. 9 out of 10. Not a lot of really noteworthy stories. He just Robin basically on his own. You have Batman show up. He doesn't really help Robin in these stories. It's basically all about Dick Grayson as Robin on his own. So yeah, those are good, but I would only recommend picking up if you're a hardcore Robin fan. If you're casual, you might not enjoy these issues. But if you're an old school, if you're a hardcore Robin fan, a hardcore Batman fan, you might enjoy those. Okay. Next up, Aquaman, Volume 7, Exiled. Yeah, even though this is the first one that I've reviewed on this show, it's just the 7-volume series. I've been reading this volume since issue 1, and the volume just wrapped up, I believe, just last week after 52 issues. Now, Colin Bunn is the writer of this one, but he's the third writer of this volume. The last writer of the volume is Dan Abbott, and he's still the writer. He's going to be still the writer for DC Rebirth. This book collects his entire run, and this run is the shortest out of all 4 writers. Well, actually, I think it might be tied for the shortest because Dan Abbott only wrote like 4 issues. This is 8 issues long, so this is the second shortest run of this title that I've seen in the past few years when the title came back. This book collects issues 41 to 48, Aquaman Volume 7, and is sneak peek. Now, it kind of flashes back forth halfway through the story, Now, originally, I saw from this list, the storyline was going to end with issue 47. But my guess is the probably part of the story wasn't ready. Maybe there's some confusion there. I'm not sure because according to the January solicits, because the last issue this came out a few months ago, it was supposed to start with Dan Abbott's run. But my guess is that basically Colin Bunn wanted to finish up a story, and Abbott wanted to delay it a little bit, so that's the reason why. And this is only just 8 issues long. It may be 8 issues long, but it's still enjoyable. Now this costume, this is his second costume he's worn in this continuity. The artist from here is Trevor McCrory. Yeah, but he's one of the many different artists here. You also got Beniti Calafru, Jesus Moreno, Weldon Wong, Alec Morin, Art Tibbett, John Dill, John Lively, Mark Dering, Don Ho, Mark Irwin, and Juan Cesaro. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 12 artists for 8 issues. I gotta say, the artwork is very consistent throughout here. I mean, it doesn't look like it. The artwork is not jarring, doesn't shift that much, so it's still really good. Now you see there's two sets of stories. You have stuff to do with the flashbacks, which I really wanted it in the trade where the flashbacks all put together first, then this main story in here. But for some reason, they couldn't just put the flashbacks at the beginning instead of this interspiced with like it was published. Now, here's a sample of the artwork in here. I mean, it's not terrible artwork. No, it's actually pretty decent artwork for what it is. Now, Aquaman only wears this particular suit just for this run. And then with the Dan Abbott run, he starts to wear a newer costume. He pretty much goes back to his Jim Lee costume. But he gets rid of the stupid collar. Yeah. This costume isn't too bad. I mean, you got like gauntlets. I mean, he still got the green pants, which is something that he actually kept from his previous outfit. But he basically went sleeveless, and he got rid of the collar. And plus, the guy looks like he hasn't shaved in a week. But the one thing unique you can say about this particular volume of Aquaman is that unlike the previous volumes, this is the only one I've ever seen where Aquaman actually carries a physical weapon when he goes to fight villains. Yeah, this trident right here. This trident has been in this as appeared in every single issue. He's hardly been without this trident since this volume started. Which I gotta praise the writers, all 4 writers for this volume, basically for allowing him to keep this trident. Because if you look at some of the older stuff with Aquaman, he doesn't have the trident with him a lot of the time. But this one, now one thing you gotta say is this: Aquaman is not a bad, he's not a terrible superhero. Oh, his superpower is that he can talk to fish. That's one of his powers. The guy also can fly. He also has super strength. And the fact that he has command. He basically rules over a third of the planet. Basically, all the oceans is his kingdom. Now, normally his villains are normally just 3 normal villains, which is just Ocean Master, Black Manta, and of course King Shark. King Shark himself does show up in here finally. But when Jeff Johns first wrote this, at the start of this volume, he gave him a new villain. The creatures from the trench, basically, added to his rogues gallery, because he doesn't have much of a rogues gallery. Because when you think of Aquaman, usually the first villain you think of usually Black Manta or maybe Ocean Master. Occasionally King Shark. King Shark was only added in the last, 15 years. Because originally King Shark was a Superboy villain. But the storyline here is actually really good. The one thing consistent you can say about every single writer is that for every single writer who's wrote this volume, there has been no bad issue in this entire run. Not even during Colin Bunn's run, you have a bad issue. The story is basically he's on the run for his own kingdom, and Mira is the ruler, and it turns out, well, spoiler alert, this happened months ago, but excuse me, Mira is the Mira who's been ruling Atlantis throughout this whole storyline is not really Mira at all. Apparently, it's Mira's sister. And about a little over halfway through the storyline, of course, before we found out this actually is not really Mira, Aquaman sleeps with the fake Mira. I'm not kidding. They have sex. A lot of it shown in shadow, yeah, but they have sex. And of course, they show like they're in bed together. He puts his pants on, and he leaves. Yeah, and even she admits that was a mistake. But later on in the story, it does show that the real Mirror is kept imprisoned. But toward in the Peninsula mission, she breaks out, and oh yeah, and her sister's name is Siren. Now I don't think from finished reading this, I don't think she was captured at all. She just got away, but Aquaman got his kingdom back. It was nice to see the Justice League in here, which, by the way, the Justice League has not appeared in the Aquaman series in this volume since the Dawn of Atlantis storyline because they've been remarkably absent. Maybe because the writers don't want to use them that much and they want to focus on, because the title is called Aquaman, not Aquaman and the Justice League. So they show up toward the end, and heck, there's one issue here that takes place before Batman number 40. But Superman is wearing his t-shirt and jeans. I'm not kidding, he does. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, he's wearing the t-shirt. Yep, he's wearing the t-shirt. He's wearing the t-shirt he's worn since post-convergence. Yeah, which I don't know why they had it where this particular storyline takes place before convergence. It's odd, to say the least, that this whole storyline took place before convergence, despite the fact it came out after convergence. And then Everyone probably takes place right after this one. So that means then Everyone probably is one takes place after convergence. It's kind of weird how the continuity works when it comes to Aquaman. But this is still really good. And I give this a 9 out of 10. Now, despite this, Gunn himself, since Sinestro just ended, he's only on, about 4 books? Yeah. He's writing Deadpool Works for Money, Uncanny X-Men, Drax, and Micronauts. That's it. This is one of the books he was writing last year, but this run was actually one of the shorter ones he's ever done. But this is still really good. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be episode 245 and Doubleshot number 179. Okay? Till then, see you there. Bye.